Well, hello, General Hospital Daily Recap fans. Today's daily recap is for Monday, September 5th, 2022, Labor Day, Monday, September 5th, 2022. Today's General Hospital, Trina's party. Trina's party's happening, and her little friends are there, and she and Rory are just having a good time. They're dancing and just celebrating her freedom. And Spencer walks in the door looking handsome in his suit. Yes, he is. Um, and Trina looks like, what are you doing here? I mean, really. And because Rory sees him first, Trina was facing the bar and he taps her and he goes, Trina. So she looks and she's thinking, like, what is he doing here? And so Portia notices him when she was talking to Jordan and I think Taggart. And then Portia says, I got to go take care of something. And she goes over to Trina and she says, Trina, honey, you need me? Do you need me for anything? One thing I appreciate about that, because I don't appreciate too much where Portia's concerned, but she didn't do like most mothers in soap operas do. She didn't beeline to Spencer and say, what are you doing here? You weren't on the list. My daughter is happy. Yes, you did something nice for her on the stand, because she pretty much said that to him at the courthouse, but she wasn't snipey. She thanked him, but she let him know, look, don't think of nothing else, right? And pretty much tell him to leave, which would have forced Trina to come up and say, Mom, wait, I mean, goodness, he doesn't have to leave, but so she just said, do you need me, honey? And Trina says, no, I can handle this. And I thought, good. So Trina went over there and she's like, Spencer, what are you doing here? And he said, I just wanted to, say goodbye before I go to Pentonville tomorrow. I wanted to, see you happy, wish you well, congratulate, whatever he said to her. And she was like, well, thank you, Spencer. And he goes, because after all, we are friends. And she looked at him and Trina says, I'm sorry, Spencer, but we are not friends. She's thinking, after what you put me through, even before the sex tape, he was pretty much just all Esme, team Esme, period, right? Telling people stop talking bad to his girlfriend and all of that stuff, and lying, not letting people know that when he was Victor, pretending to be Victor, he and Trina kissed and the whole there's some music going on in the outside. It's like, why do people feel they have to blast music? I don't know. So ignore it. That's just a part of life, part of recording, but just in case you hear it, it's bugging me too. So anyway, she's like, but no, we're not friends. And he goes, well, we used to be friends. And she goes, okay, I'll give you that. We used to be friends. And she should have said, when I thought you were somebody else. But guess what? So anyway, she didn't tell him to leave, but she actually hugged him. I was like, and it was a very sincere hug on her part. And she says, please be safe in Pittenville. Be safe. I guess they are really sending Spencer to Pentonville. You couldn't have told me that was going to work out like that, man. So anyway, he goes and he sits in the corner sipping on his club soda or 7-Up with lime in it, because Curtis told the bartenders, make sure, look, the majority of these people in here are under 21, period. Those with an orange band get no alcohol, seriously. So he's drinking. Cameron comes over to him and Cameron's like, you didn't even mention you were coming. And then Spencer tells him, I had this bright idea. I wrote this note, because he had the note on the table. I was just going to tell Trina everything, how from the beginning, I knew she didn't do that, the film you and Josh, and I've been on her side and blah, blah, blah. And Cameron was like, that's the best idea you've ever had in a year. You should let her know. And so Cameron, Spencer's like, I don't know. And Cameron's like, yeah, okay. Well, okay, buddy. You know, so Jocelyn, let's get to Jocelyn. She was dumpster diving with Dex, of course, and they both were in the trash looking for this bracelet. And oh, her foot got stuck, and he's trying to reach over to help her, and they fall back into the stinky trash. And almost, ooh, their lips almost touched, almost, you know. And then they get up because he's like, oh, you were strong, thinking, oh, I couldn't stop you from falling. Dex, you didn't want to. You didn't want to. There you go. So they get back up, and she continues to look for the bracelet. And of course, she finds Avery's bracelet, of course. And they get out the dumpster, and he says, oh, take my hand, I'll help you out. She's like, I know how to get out the dumpster. So she gets on out the dumpster and, gets her purse, but she has to reach around him to get her purse. At least she didn't reach around him to get her purse and then go, hello, hello. She didn't do that. Okay. She just reached around him, got her purse, and said, okay, I got to go. I got to go get showered and changed for Trina's party. And Dex, when he gets out, he, of course, takes his t-shirt off to flex his six-pack. And she goes, do you always just have a change of clothes ready to, And he goes, that's the benefit of dressing in layers. So she goes, and she does show up at the Savoy, later, and looking like $1,000,000. Jocelyn walked down those stairs, and I was like, oh my goodness, she is truly a young woman, gorgeous, right? And Cam's looking at her like, wow. And he's like, you went home and changed? And so she told him the story about, she had to dumpster dive and go home. She had to shower and change. And he goes, well, I wish you would have called me, because I would not have let you go through all that alone. And she's just looking at him. Now let's see if tomorrow, because Josh normally tells Cameron pretty much everything matter-of-factly. So let's see if she tells him, Dex helped me. And then he'll say, you know what? I'm starting to hear that guy's name an awful lot, Josh. He just happens to be everywhere you are. But in this case, it was an accident because Avery lost her bracelet. Nobody planned that. Sonny made Dex stand as a guard outside of Avery's room. Dex didn't even really want to do that. So when Jocelyn came back looking for the bracelet, things just happened from there, So that is how that happened. But let's see if she tells him, because if she doesn't tell him, that means, I see some feelings starting to happen, right? Well, then we get the scene of Brooklyn and Chase. She sees Sonny and Nina, so she has a bright idea to ask her Uncle Sonny if he could help with some of his connections and get Chase some gigs. And Sonny's like, well, I know people, yeah, And Chase steps up and he goes, excuse me, sir, with all due respect, look, my first goal is to get back with the PCPD. And he says, and like, no disrespect, but my line of work and your line of work, they don't quite go hand in hand, right? And Sonny says, well, these contacts are contacts that I have from the coffee business. See, I'm telling you, that coffee business is the upstanding business Sonny does. We got some others, right? So he's like, but yeah, no, I just can't. Thank you, but I will have to decline. And so Nina says, well, look, I know I'm friends with Curtis. I can ask him if you could sing at the Savoy. Would that be okay? And Tracy's like, well, yeah. And Brooklyn's like, yeah, So Nina says, well, look, let's go because I want to go congratulate Curtis on his engagement. Come on, Sonny. So she takes Sonny with her. And Chase tells Brooklyn, you know what, Brooklyn, you went too far. And she's not understanding why, what? He goes, you know who Sonny is. I cannot, my name cannot be tied up in association with him at all. That would hurt my chances. And so she's like, I didn't think of that. And it's like, Brooklyn doesn't think of nothing. He goes, you cannot compromise. Me getting back with the force. I would never do that, Chase. And I'm like, you do it every 5 minutes, Brooklyn. What are you talking about? Every harebrained scheme Brooklyn has compromises Chase because she doesn't think of anyone other than herself. She doesn't. He's going to truly learn the hard way where Brooklyn is concerned. So now let's go to Brando. And Brando pretty much stayed at the hospital all bummed out. And TJ goes up to him, and TJ is like, I noticed you were here more than an hour ago, and you're still here. So they end up talking, and Brando says, I messed up. I mean, I couldn't bring it up to Sasha. Sasha's struggling. Sasha's this. And I thought the psych doctor could bring it up, and then it just made it worse. And he just doesn't know, right? So TJ's like, well, look, I'm on my way to the Savoy. Let me give you a ride to the place that Sasha, he was going to meet her after the meeting with Lucy. So Brando says, okay. Speaking of Lucy has her there, in the nice, I don't even know the name of that place, but that is one of the places that everybody tends to go to sometimes, right? When they're not at the Metro Court, they're eating there. And Lucy's trying to be civilized, trying to delicately tell her they need her to step back because she's hurting the company. She's like, I don't know if you've noticed, but the stocks are down, sales are down, and we really need you. And Sasha was like, fine, I won't get involved with the fall campaign or even winter if that's what you want. But then after that, and Lucy's like, no, we need a little bit more. And Sasha's like, what? And Lucy's like, because of the magnitude of stock that you own. And right now, Sasha, your decision making is not good. I mean, we need you to get help. We need you better. We would need you to put, your shares or your interest in the company in more of a trust, and then when you are better, everything can be released back to you. And Sasha starts raising her voice, and who's gonna deem me better? And she just goes on and on. Who, you? I mean, she just is acting horribly, acting out at this restaurant, right? And the people at the other tables are looking at her, and Lucy's like, shh, know your place. No, you just went. And she goes on, and people are really starting to look and she's making a spectacle of herself. Then she stands up, and you this, and you that, and yeah, and she just goes on. So then Lucy loses it, and she stands up, and she goes, that's enough. You need to stop this. because you know this is not true. You know we care about you. You know that you need help. You know I am. And Sasha is just, oh, she's going off, right? And then she notices somebody filming her. Oh, ooh, now she's mad. Oh, and she goes, and he goes, ooh, there's that weirdo, you know, of this face of deception, another meltdown. Ooh. And she could hear him, right? Well, that's exactly what she was doing. She is, no, he called her a nutcase. She was acting like a nutcase in public, knowing people would film her. She goes over to the table, snatches the man's phone, throws it down, and stomp, 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 breaks the phone. And Lucy's like, stop this right now. You know, like, stop it. And Sasha, and she's screaming at the top, almost like it was when she was bashing out uh, whatever that guy's name is. I never remember people that aren't real good characters in there. Anyway, where she was bashing out his window, and she just yelling, take that now, take that, yeah. And so the bouncer or the guard or whatever he was, maybe he was the owner, bouncer, but he's kind of buff, looked like he's more the bouncer, but they really didn't need a bouncer at that restaurant. So somebody in charge, kids, come on, ma'am, excuse me, ma'am, no, no. So he's trying to escort her out. Get your hands off me. And she just, I mean, really acting like a child, just shaking back and forth. And, you know, you're hitting at him. And Lucy is just like, oh my God. And just yelling. She is just, ah! And Brando walks in and he sees her. Now, fortunately, he didn't do the whole get your hands off my wife and punch the guy, because for one, he knows Sasha's she's unhinged, right? He knows she needs to physically be committed. And he could see when he walked in, for one, he could glance at Lucy and see Lucy like, oh my goodness, whoa. And everybody in the restaurant was standing just kind of looking at, what is this woman doing? So he's like, Sasha. And she sees him and she stops. And he walks over to her and he grabs her and he's like, Sasha, what? And she, see, when she stops is because, see, Brando is just the one that she said, I don't need to be inpatient. I don't even need today's therapy. I'm fine. It was a setback. It was a slip. It won't happen again. You keep thinking I'm not fine, and I am. So she sees, even though she was unhinged, soon as she saw him, she knew, like, oh, shoot, I'm not supposed to be acting out like this, right? He was that trigger for that. It wasn't Lucy. It wasn't her own self. It wasn't anybody else. So he goes, are you okay? And she goes, no, I need help. I need help. And they shrink down, to the ground. And here's the picture where she's just yelling at Lucy and she's losing it and she's just going crazy, right? But then Brando, oh, I just need help, Brando. Just some help, just a little. But look, I don't need committed help, Brando. I don't need to be in Shady Brook. I don't need that, Brando. I don't need you to be my conservator because I'm not that off, but I need some help, but help on my own terms, meaning let me have this breakdown. Let me act out, okay? And take me home. So I could tell you, okay, you know what? You've helped me enough tonight listening to me. I'm good. Tomorrow, look, you don't even need to know where I'm going. That's the kind of help I need. I need help on my own terms. By the way, I need a little pick me up. I do. I need some drugs just to get me through this rough patch. I do need that kind of help. I'm not going to tell you that's the kind of help I feel I need, but I need that kind of help because I'm withdrawing, or I'm actually very unstable. So I don't know. The Sasha meltdown, I hope they start to bring it to a end soon, because at this point, with her destroying even more property, that guy could press charges. This woman is worth millions, which is what Lucy is saying. You're hurting the company. You're, oh my goodness. So let's see what happens. Brando needs to just really have her committed. Let's hope he has the guts. Let's hope he has the strength to have her committed into Shady Brook, because that's really what needs to happen to Sasha. So back to Trina at the end. Spencer is deciding. It was so cute. Rory gets up to go get them a water. And in my mind, I'm thinking, I mean, not even iced tea, not even a Shirley Temple, not even a orange crush. You say, would you like me to go get us some water? Okay, Rory. Yeah. So Rory goes, and Trina, she's standing up and kind of leaning against the wall, looking the divider, kind of looking out at her friends, the crowd that's there. She's looking, and then Spencer is on the other side of the wall. That looks so cute. And he had his little letter in his hand, and they both step forward at the same time, and they see each other. And Spencer's like, I'm leaving. I'm leaving. I'm gonna go, because she's like, you're still here, I'm gonna go. And he tries to rush by, right? And he's now trying to shove the letter in his pocket real quick as he walks by. And in my mind, I'm saying, bingo, it's getting ready to drop. Sure enough, bingo, it dropped on the ground. I said, it's going. Sure enough, it dropped on the ground. And Trina looks at it and she sees her name, Trina. And Spencer looks at it. He's more getting ready to go up the stairs. He's almost getting ready to go up the stairs. So Trina sees it. You should see them both doing a dive for this letter, right? They're diving into it. Trina gets it first. And she looks at it and she says, Spencer, what is this about? And that's where they leave it. Because now that she has the letter, if it's one thing I know she is going to do, is she is going to read it. She's going to read this right as he's about to go to Pentonville tomorrow. So, yikes. See, Rory's going to wish he came back with a little more, something stronger than a water. Yeah, Rory, you're going to wish that. But anyway, let's go to Comment Corner. Not a lot of comments. This was a holiday weekend. We've got Susan. She does her rundown for today. So if anyone would love to read, pretty much the recap, Susan does a great recap of the show in written form. Monique, no, not Monique. Lisa said, having Nell and Esme on the show together would be evil times 2. My goodness, yeah. I think Nell's gonna come back in somebody's vision, just like right now. So did Esme. Ryan, if Ryan uses his guard that he has under his thumb, that helps Spencer get that out for the day, he could go out of Spring Ridge and return to Spring Ridge with nobody knowing. He could have been the one that hurt Ava, but you know what? I didn't notice Ryan had a guard that was working with him. I didn't notice that at all. If anybody noticed that there's a guard under Ryan's thumb, kind of text in the chat. I did not know that. Now, and then Lisa said that she heard that this is the first new show on a Labor Day that General Hospital has done in 20 years. Yeah, because I noticed they normally don't have an episode on Labor Day. And let's see. Yep, that's it. So we only had a few comments that YouTube is showing me right now. So I'll be back tomorrow for another daily recap of General Hospital. Let's see if Trina reads that letter. Let's see. And let's see what Brando is going to do where Sasha is concerned.